Now, the Palin Update with Kevin Scholla presents Liberty and Legacy. Here's Tamara Colbert.
Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. Thank you, Paul Ryan, for socking it to the American people. I have to bring up Sarah Palin's excellent commentary in Breitbart this week, where she likens the abuse against citizens by Obama, Democrats, and the GOP establishment to battered wife syndrome. This is a brilliant assessment of where we are as a nation and a people, battered again and again by the GOP establishment abusers in Congress. Democrats don't think you're going to get away with this either, because you are party with the GOP establishment. Since the Tea Party founding and liberty-based grassroots groups began to proliferate over the last 7 years, we, the people, have become self-educated, galvanized, raised money, and acted to elect more conservatives to office, from the dog catcher position to federal office, than in the last 100 years. One would think that Mitch McConnell and John Boehner, Paul Ryan, would be appreciative for maybe half a second. They should be more than appreciative and should be kissing the ground the American people walk on, which has led the way to them getting to these positions of power. Well, instead, these blowhards are single-handedly bankrupting our nation, taking more for themselves and walking lockstep with Obama's agenda to fundamentally transform our nation. Guess what, folks? Elections do have consequences. And in November of 2016, we get to vote out as many of these jerks as possible and try somebody new. We got Boehner out, of course, amid a huge bit of excitement and support from the House Freedom Caucus, who have now become silent. They are eating humble pie because they voted in Boehner 2.0, a.k.a. Paul Ryan, and who has this week broken every promise made to us, every single one of you jerks in the Congress, except for Dave Bratt and a handful of other conservatives, Dave Bratt, Louis Gohmert, who refused to vote for the omnibus bill. And let me be clear, as I continue, I want to summarize what Sarah has in her column that emphasizes the point of this omnibus or omni train, because there is no way you can fit all of these lobbyists and crony paybacks on a bus. Obamacare fully funded. Illegal alien sanctuary cities fully funded. Obama's illegal executive amnesty fully funded. 170,000 visas for unvetted Muslims fully funded. Obama's green energy crony capitalism fully funded. Tax credits for illegal aliens fully funded. I have to stop there because I'm going to be depressing myself. But the final shiv in the back of the people is the fact that this 2,000-page omni-train was written in a closed-door backroom deal by about 4 people. So how is it that Paul Ryan, Nancy Pelosi, and a couple of jerk lobbyists get to write a bill that 320 million Americans have to pay for? I'm sorry, but the last time I checked, that's not constitutionality. That's called tyranny, folks. So the question is that I want you to think about on your Christmas vacation is, what are you prepared to do about it? I know what I'm prepared to do about it, but you need to ask yourself, what are you willing to do now about this? I do want to add a caveat to Sarah's brilliant commentary this week in Breitbart, that she forgot to mention this solution that our favorite governor has endorsed herself, and that is Article 5 of the Constitution, and using it to call a convention of states that allows the people, through their state legislatures, to stop this runaway federal government. My friends, using Article 5 right now is the only way that we can get our country back. As Mark Levin has written about, and Hannity and Rush and Bobby Jindal and the Palins and Glenn Beck and more have endorsed and said Article 5 of the Constitution is the only way to get back to saving the Constitution. Our founding fathers were brilliant because they put Article 5 in there as the in case of emergency break glass option. Real leadership is not going to be found at the ballot box anymore. Real leadership is going to come in the form of small r republicanism happening in our communities every day. It's going to be about working our precincts, registering people to vote the right way, knowing your neighbors, your kids' teachers, your coaches, your pastors, and talking with them, talking with everyone about what is real, amazing, oh my goodness, and fantastic about the United States of America and why we need to fight to protect it. As we head into this Christmas holiday week, I am reminded about one of my favorite verses in the whole Bible, Galatians 5:1. God wrote liberty and freedom in our hearts. He put it in our DNA. It is why man for thousands of years has died, has sacrificed with a glimpse of light of freedom anywhere where freedom exists in the history of our world. Man and woman will fight for it, will thrive for it, will die for it. That is why we have the United States of America, because our founding fathers and those people who sacrificed, those first Americans, whether it was my great-grandfather, Captain Miles Standish, and the people on the Pilgrim, that came to Plymouth, or you and me. God wrote liberty and freedom in our DNA, so we will never, ever be enslaved again. And as we re-energize our souls this week, and we are reminded of our blessings, our families, and all the things that are right and that we have in this nation, I pray for each of you to find the resolve. And I ask you to pray for strength and courage as we enter into 2016, because it's going to be a killer. It's going to be tough. It is going to take every single ounce of extra energy, of extra resolve, of courage that you and I can muster to save our nation. If we do not fight the progressive ideologues and the GOP establishment with our brains and the Constitution, I worry that we will have to fight them on a home front battlefield in a second civil war, because these folks will stop at nothing to elevate themselves, to take everything from us and enslave us into nothing more than indentured servitude towards a big, huge, centralized government. I mean, really, hasn't enough blood been shed at Liberty's tree already in our 237-year history? It's time. It's time to use our Constitution, our brains, and our state legislators to demand and to act in 2016 toward passing the Convention of States legislation in as many states as possible. I will not stop until we have a full citizen-led self-governance movement and a complete restoration of our Constitution. That's what I'm willing to do, and that's what I work towards every single day. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah to all of you, my brothers and sisters in liberty. May God smile upon you. May God smile upon your household, your families this holiday season, and that we remember His greatest gift in the birth of His Son, Jesus Christ. Let us be humbled, beg forgiveness, and take the necessary steps towards getting America back on track to the divinely inspired Judeo-Christian nation that we are. May you be blessed. I want to know where you guys are headed this week. Family, friends, staying at home? Tweet me at Tamara Colbert. Blessings to you all. I'm Tamara Colbert for Mama Grizzly Radio.
Tamara Colbert in Texas. Tune in for more Liberty and Legacy next week. And to learn about Convention of States, head to conventionofstates.com. Now our weekly commentary, Steel Resolve. Here's Sarah Steelman.
Thanks, Kevin. Well, we can all breathe a sigh of relief. No worries anymore about temperature rising because President Obama has negotiated a landmark deal. The government, who has ultimate power now, even over temperature, will not allow an increase of more than 2 degrees. It's hard to imagine a government with that kind of power. Of course, this can only be achieved by the United States diverting billions of taxpayer dollars to third world countries to help cut their carbon emissions. And of course, this administration is going to rely upon the goodwill of China to adhere to these standards because, after all, China is completely trustworthy and never cheats or steals in the global marketplace. Forget the fact that many of these countries who pledge their support to reduce carbon emissions don't even have clean water for their country's population. Forget about feeding starving babies. It's more important to divert billions of dollars that could be lifting people out of poverty and sickness to some kind of green energy that is probably never going to be economically feasible. But that's okay with President Obama because he has saved the planet from global warming by using his power to regulate temperature. The Founding Fathers would be amazed at the godlike power that Obama has derived from his presidency. This is Sarah Steelman for Mama Grizzly Radio.
Tune in again next week for another segment of Steel Resolve right here on the Palin Update. The Palin Update, including Liberty and Legacy and Steel Resolve, is on demand and available for download. So just head to mamagrizzlyradio.com, pick the show you want to hear, and you can listen anywhere, anytime. I want to send a special Christmas wish to our friend Teresa Marchese Contento. Teresa's going through some tough stuff right now, and she can use all our prayers. Now, we know that she'll get through this time because we're praying for her and because she's a fighter and a great American. So, Teresa, we are thinking about you, and we wish you a great 2016 Merry Christmas to you and your family. Well, that'll just about do it for this edition of the Palin Update on Mama Grizzly Radio. Visit mamagrizzlyradio.com for continuing coverage of Governor Palin. Also, like Mama Grizzly Radio on Facebook. Also, follow along on Twitter at Mama Grizz Radio, at Kevin Scholla, at Tamara Colbert, and at Sarah_Steelman. And I'm doing some writing for Breitbart News. Go to Breitbart.com and search Kevin Scholla. I want to thank Sarah Steelman, Tamara Colbert, and everyone here at Mama Grizzly Radio. Thanks to Dave Bray, and thank you for listening today. A special thanks to our sponsor, Narrowgate Security Agency. Visit narrowgate.com. The Palin Update is produced by Lena Anderson, the Andy L. Kramer, and Lori Ann Lewis. Please be sure to join us again next time for another edition of the Palin Update right here on Mama Grizzly Radio. I'm Kevin Scholla. Have a pleasant day and Merry Christmas. Christ the Savior is born.